And welcome back to another episode of the Hoops Lounge. My name is Marc Griffin, aka Montreal Mark, and I am not doing this alone ever. So we're joined by my man, Sporting Phil Boileau. How you doing, Phil?
I'm getting a little crazy here, just coming back from futuristic Jurassic Park as a Raptors fan. Been a good round one.
Yeah, we'll be getting back there in a second. And back from the dead like Lazarus, my man Mota's back from Switzerland. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's great to be back. It's great to be back on the show. I'm sorry for all this hectic thing, but it's been a crazy weeks the past few weeks, and I've been learning about soccer, which is not the main thing for Hoops Lounge, but I guess we have to learn extra things anyways. And I think Sporting Phil need to learn a little bit more about soccer.
But football, technically.
Or football, yeah.
The F-U-T-B-O-L, but that'll be for another day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So getting back to the hoops, like you said, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, and there's a tweet I read the other day that really hit me. It was from a guy who was a journalist in Boston who said, "I've been watching professional basketball since Bob Cousy played in Boston, which is in the 1960s, and he said it's been the best first round he'd ever seen in his life." So that speaks a lot to me. Phil, I'll start with you. Is there any one thing you think you'll be remembering 50 years from now about this first round?
Like I said from the start, my favorite matchup of all the ones was Portland-Houston, and that Damian Lillard turning into a playoff assassin with his Game 7 buzzer beater. I mean, that was just the play.
Yeah.
I mean, the Portland Trailblazers went from that team that everyone kind of looked past to now people are like, wow, these guys are legit.
Yeah.
That had to be the play for me. That was up there in one of the most clutch shots I've ever seen in my life. And on top of that, he got to take the shot even though LaMarcus Aldridge played like, in my mind, the best power forward in the league.
And he did it with Chandler Parsons, who's like a foot taller than him in his face. I mean, everything about that shot. The clapping, everything.
That shot goes for the ages. I mean, it's just one of the shots that we'll always remember from these first rounds. I mean, I don't think that it's only that shot. The entire first round was just phenomenal. I think I was awake every day until 4 in the morning to watch these games because I couldn't go to sleep. You know, it was just crazy. Like we had 8 overtime contests.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's just and who would have thought? I mean, in the East it was getting really good. I mean, we were talking about how the East was pretty bad and everything, but the competition level was actually pretty good. Indiana and Atlanta were going at it, and I guess we had a great show, even from the Raptors. I mean, I felt extremely bad for the Raptors losing yesterday, but we had a good show. We had a great time.
Well, it was a learning opportunity for a lot of the young players in the Raptors, right? Like, I think if anything else is going to be good for them.
Yes.
But in the East, you pointed out a good thing. I mean, we saw the emergence of teams like Washington, who no one gave credit for before, kind of like the Portland of the East.
Brazil, baby, Nene.
Nene beasted big time, even though he had his one little UFC moment. But
and according to ESPN, he was actually rated number 3 in the playoff MVP. So right after LeBron and Aldridge. So he's playing big time. I'll let you chime in on him because I know you love your international boys there.
Well, I mean, talking about playoff series with overtimes, I did not expect Memphis and OKC just to be a gritty battle. I mean, going down to Game 7, did you guys actually think Memphis was going to pull that out?
If they didn't lose Zach Randolph, yeah. I thought they handled those post guys well, but not enough that I think Tony Allen was playing on such a level. He was the MVP of that whole series to me.
He was.
As much as Westbrook scored, as much as Durant scored, as much as Marc Gasol played his heart out in Game 7. He's destructive.
He's trying to be 2 people at once. I mean, with Zebo out, he's basically trying to be the 4 and the 5. They basically tried to play, 4 guards and him playing old school ABA basketball. And for a quarter and a half, OKC didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, definitely. I have actually a quick question to Phil. What did you say a couple of days ago about some guy in Portland? Which we go back to.
Yes, I'm giving you Nick Batum props. Yes, you can have your Nick Batum props here. He is a fantastic player. Yes, I didn't watch him enough. He's a glue guy. Well, he's more than a glue guy, but he's legitimate third scorer in that team. Can do a bit of everything, and he was playing hurt that series. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, definitely. He was he's definitely the guy when they double team Aldridge, they would give him the ball, or when they double team Damian Lillard, they would give him the ball, or Wesley Matthews. So he was the guy who
Wesley Matthews, love the guy.
Yeah, exactly. And if you lose the ball or if you pass the ball at the last minute, he was the guy who was supposed to make those big shots, and he was making them. So, and on defense, I mean, he was just phenomenal on both ends. So. Props to my French guy, Nicolas Batum.
The international flavor.
Yeah.
Mark, you didn't speak of one series that we were kind of, it maybe gone under the radar, but it was a good one. Dallas, San Antonio. Did you like that one?
I loved it. I loved the Dirk versus Duncan thing going on. I mean, and all these guys, I mean, we didn't get to speak enough about it. Like Vince Carter with the redemption shot from 2001, redux all over again, same spot, same pump, same fall into the corner, and this time it went in, and I had this feeling that because that shot went in, the ghost of Vince Carter would leave the ACC, and I thought that Kyle Lowry would pull it out at the end for the Raptors the same day. I mean, actually a week later, but it didn't come to fruition, and these series they've been pulling on my heartstrings for the last 2 weeks. Like Mota said, staying up to 4 in the morning. Like I lost a lot of sleep, but it's been worth it. It's really worth it. And there's one guy we haven't mentioned yet, and I'm gonna throw this to you, Mota. What is LeBron James thinking right now?
He's just in the spa right now. Like I said yesterday in our review, he's just chilling, sipping on his water and everything. He's just relaxing, taking his time, and just waiting for Brooklyn to be all like for him to eat them up. It's like he was waiting for the other on the other side who was slowly cooked, and then he's about to have his meal.
Phil, I mean, we got to a bit of this last week, but Adam Silver made the historic speech banning Donald Sterling. What did you think of the speech and the Clippers going forward now?
I think this speech really solidified himself with his to have his own personal presence. I mean, being the commissioner, you automatically have a bit of a entitlement, a role. But I felt every good commissioner, every good leader, doesn't matter the sport or the enterprise or the business, needs to have that one moment where they really put their footprint in the sand. And I feel that this was his. Now, they're going to have a long, lengthy legal battle, I feel, before they're able to sell the team. But this was needed for the NBA. It took the focus away from this very dark cloud and brought it back to a very positive Clippers nation based on the fans and the players. And they snuck out a Game 7. I thought Golden State should have taken that. That was another fantastic series. Chris Paul playing hurt. DeAndre Jordan just going to beast mode at the end. Just on and on. It was just like you could tell that team just got that bit of a lift. And, I mean, they're going to be pretty destructive going forward.
Yeah, and keep in mind they had no Bogut that series with them. I think they win that series hands down Golden State. But, I mean, that's the nature of the beast, right? So there were, as we mentioned before, there were a lot of suspensions. Well, a few at least. I mean, we had Zebo going out for Memphis. Nene missed a game. One thing that didn't end up happening was Paul George did not get suspended for when he stepped out onto the court during a melee with George Hill. Mota, throw this to you. Did you think he deserved a suspension there, just like happened to Phoenix back in 2007 with Amari and Boris Diaw?
Well, that hurts so much.
I mean, it's a case-by-case thing. I think the league goes a case-by-case, but I can't say that they let him slide just because he's Paul George. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had their reasons. But in my opinion, if I was the NBA, I would have suspended him for at least one game because you can't get involved. At least as soon as you get involved, you have to send a message to everyone that it's not. This is the playoffs. It gets aggressive. It gets violent down there in the post and everything. So it's not. You have to keep your head in the game and not get into those fights. And I guess yes, he showed up for his teammate. But since you're the superstar, you should think a little bit more about what are the consequences. So, if it was me, I would have suspended him. But I guess the NBA thought that in this case they shouldn't have.
Although at the same time, it's a good story for the NBA having the Pacers, a true rival of the Heat, back in. And as much as he kind of let his emotions get away, the fact that he had those emotions towards securing the safety of his teammates was very telling, because that was kind of the issue going into the playoffs, right? The Indiana Pacers seemed very separate. They had their internal beefs. And this could have been one of those defining moments that helped them gel together, because, like, in truth, they have the talent to do it. It's just like something going on in a few of those players, especially Roy Hibbert. Where's this guy gone? But, those guys really. I mean, Lance Stevenson had a nice finish to the season. George Hill, like the guys they need to step up are starting to step up. And now, if the big man can do it, I can see that. I can see my prediction of them going far, still holding true. I was scared for my prediction there, but I think it's a feel-good story seeing these guys come together.
Yeah, I have a question for both of you, actually. So, what was the main surprise of this entire round? Just one surprise. Name one thing that just made it or lost it for you for this entire playoffs.
Oof, one defining moment. That's tough for this one. I just think. For me, how Houston kind of just didn't show up. I mean, Mike Grumberg on our site wrote a good article about James Harden disappearing a bit in the playoffs in his technical Tuesdays. And, Dwight Howard and James Harden, while they did have some good games, you feel like their big two just didn't live up to the hype. How Chandler Parsons wasn't able to stay in the face of Lillard. It's just like there was a lot there that they showed promise and talent, but they just fizzled out. And I thought Houston, realistically, was going to be possibly one of these contenders if they came together, but it just didn't work. And I think this is really going to affect them going to next season. Like, are they really going to want to overpay for a Sheik, Lin? And is this the core you want to build around? Because they just flopped in the playoffs.
Well, they didn't technically. I think we already had this discussion about Jeremy Lin, and I don't think they overpaid when you look at his numbers in the playoffs. He was actually a pretty crucial guy. He was the guy who scored sometimes more points than James Harden in the playoffs. So
that team still flopped compared to expectations.
Exactly. So what about you, Mike?
Okay, so we got to wrap up here in a minute, guys, but I'll throw it to you, Mota, first. What is one thing you're going to miss from the first round going into round two?
Cheering for the Raptors. It's just I'm a Knicks fan, but it's just being in Canada and seeing Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady goes, like the history behind the Raptors and all the struggle and all the young guys over there. I think just the fact to watch and believing that we the North and what the Raptors can make it to the second round. That's what I would miss.
Phil?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna agree with the Raptors, but I'm gonna say, oddly enough, even though I'm an OKC guy, I'm gonna miss the Grizzlies. I just thought they really came into their own this year, and through no fault of, I guess complete fault of their own for Zach Randolph punching my man Steven Adams, causing more problems. I just felt that they were a good feel-good story. I mean, if I wasn't such a big OKC fan, I would really like to cheer for them in the West, and I thought they played really well. And if I just got to watch that Houston-Portland series for the rest of my life, I could just do that, and I'd die a happy man.
For me, I'm going to miss the man with the golden shoes. His name is Steph Curry, and he plays at Golden State. He's always a pleasure. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Mark Jackson this offseason, but we will get to that on another show. Guys, it's a quick show, but we got to wrap up here. Was there anything last minute you guys wanted to mention?
No, not personally. I mean, I'm just personally really looking forward to round two. A lot of great matchups. I mean, we'll cover this obviously in a show coming up, but I think in the East, the three teams besides Miami that did get through pose the three biggest threats to the Heat. So I think that's a great storyline. And in the West, it's just like the point guard matchup. I mean, we can just talk about that for years, but I mean, just elite point guard play, elite stars, feel-good stories, just everything, rivalries. This is just getting better and better and heating up, and that on the heels of Adam Silver and the NBA cleaning up the little problems there are. It's just the NBA is growing in popularity, and we the North gotta love the Raptors going forward too.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm probably gonna ask maybe for a sponsorship from Nespresso just for me to be able to stay up late for the playoffs.
Yeah,
Gotta love the guy.
We'll get some Tim Hortons over here too.
Yeah, that too.
All right, Phil, I'll throw it back to you to wrap up.
All right, guys. Well, listen, as always, you can find all of our stuff on hoopslounge.com, and you can always find us on our YouTube page. You can find all these videos, YouTube/The Hoops Lounge. And remember to subscribe, like, comment, because that way you'll get more feeds and we'll know what you guys like and what to bring your way. And as always, Twitter and everything else, and our Facebook page. So if you guys want to see anything, any content, let us know, and we'll catch you guys all next time, as always, on the lounge.
See ya.